All right, I'm going to demonstrate something kind of neat here that I've discovered about how to make 69 caliber round ball and buck and ball and buckshot cartridges. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that show how to tie up the separate compartments between the round ball and the buckshot. And I followed those instructions, and you'll notice if you do what some people claim that you're supposed to do, where you have two free ends of string and you do a ½ inch, come around the other side, ½ inch down, ½ inch, come back around and tie it. If you do this, one of the things that you'll notice is you end up with two strings coming down from each subsection. And you don't generally see that on surviving examples. There's usually one string that goes down to each subsection. So I thought that was kind of strange. And the other thing that was strange is, in order to do it this way, you have to pre-cut your string. You have to tie it and have two free ends that you can work down the cartridge. And if you watch people do this, it's very, very fidgety. They'll come over here and they'll do a ½ hitch, and then or they'll come over here to this side, they'll do a ½ hitch, and they'll flip it over, and they'll come over here and do a hitch, and then they'll come down to the next compartment, and then they'll flip it back to this side and tie. Very tedious, okay? And you got to remember, this was production ammunition. It wouldn't have been cost effective to be that fidgety making it. So combined with this clue and how fidgety it was, I got to playing around with the cartridge, and I think I've discovered something interesting, something that would have been readily apparent to sailors. And I even remember my dad showing me how to do this as a Boy Scout, how to throw a square knot over a post without ever having to tie anything, with a free end. Oh, another aspect that's interesting is the Ordnance Manual instructions specifically say you never cut the cord until the end of the manufacture of the cartridge. So there is no free end, okay? You're working with a spool of thread or a ball of thread, and you don't cut it until you're done. So there's no free end to do a traditional, weave it in and make a traditional knot, because there's no free end to work with if you're not cutting it until the end. So how does that work? Well, I think I figured it out. So let's demonstrate here. So let me grab one of my outer wrappers. This was cut using 4th Armory template for the 69 caliber round ball and buck and ball. So, just as always with a standard US choked cartridge, you're going to position your former. The round nose is about ½ inch away from the end of the long end of the trapezoid, and we're going to wrap it up. Same as always. Okay, and then same as always, we're going to choke the end of the cartridge, and so you end up with your little flower. And here's where things get a little different, okay? So just like always, we're going to take our cartridge and we're going to pinch it tight, and we're going to close up with 2 half hitches to close up the end of the cartridge. I guess this isn't different at all. This is the way all of the cartridges start off, okay? But at this point, rather than cutting, both ends, we're only going to cut the loose end off. So here we are with a cartridge that's still attached to the end of the string, okay? So I'm not pre-cutting anything, so there's not going to be any wasted string. So how do you tie knots in this thing if there's no loose end to pass under and over and around and so on? Well, it's really pretty easy. What you do is you take your string and you make a loop in it, okay? So I'm going to take this end and I'm going to go over that end, okay? And then the top string is going to get flipped over and down over the end of the cartridge, and you pull it tight. And then you just repeat that as many layers as you have. You go over and you come down. You go over, make a little lasso, and you come down. You go over, and you come down. Okay, so as many layers, whether you're doing buckshot or buck and ball or whatever, it's super easy. As you saw, I can run right down that cartridge super quick. And then for the final compartment, you're going to want 2 half hitches, just like they say in the Ordnance Manual. Well, to do that without having a free end, you just go over, and then you come around your loop. Oops. Come around your loop. Try one more time. All right. I swear this worked a minute ago. There we go. And come over. And now I've finished off with 2 half hitches. So, really easy to do.